Thank you all for being here. This feels so wonderful. In 1986, 6 artists said, "Silence equals death," and they changed the national conversation about AIDS. An artist made the world's largest landfill into a public park. Defying society's racist norms, in 1943, an artist put black and white Broadway dancers on stage at the same time with equal roles for the first time. Art is the expression of our humanity. Please stand if you are able as we rededicate ourselves to creative community. Let's join together. Tekiah, Shevarim Teruah, Tekiah. Please welcome Janera Solomon, who stands with Creative Community.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Okay, so let me ask this question. How many artists do we have in the room? Raise your hands tall. Come on, be proud. All right, give a round of applause for the artists. How many audience members do we have in this room? That's an important question. Because, some of us who've been making art all of our lives, we can slave away and do it forever and do it really well and with passion and compassion. But without all of you to listen and to see it and to consume it and to notice it, it's sort of like a tree in a forest, right? So I grew up with an artist as in my household, my father, my sisters, my cousins, everybody. There's art making, music making everywhere. And so sort of as Jake said about food, it's essential. For me, it's essential. I can't go a moment really without it. One of the things that we grew up with was this common notion of practice. So how many of you, especially the kids, how many of you are made to practice? Okay, fine. You don't want to call your parents out by raising your hands. It's understandable. Okay, my daughter's raising her hand. See, she's not afraid. So yeah, we know all about practicing, and I had a music teacher that said that practice makes perfect. And she would make us practice, and my father, of course, he practices, still does, and we would practice. And then once an artist came to visit us from Guyana. He stayed with us for a little while, and he heard one of my sisters or somebody say, "Oh, we have to practice, practice makes perfect." And he said, "No, it's not practice makes perfect. It's practice makes permanent." Permanent? What do you mean by permanent? So this is where I want to go to the introduction. In the stories that were shared, those stories of those artists, we would consider them masters, right? These are people who are creative geniuses or at the peak of their game, or they've got the courage, whatever it is. They've come to a place, a pinnacle, and we're like, yes, that artist is amazing, or they're doing important things. And the thing I want us to think about, two things, really. One is, who noticed them before they were famous? Who was the person that said, "Oh, I see something interesting in the way this person thinks," or "I see something interesting in the way she sings, or in the way he walks, or in the way he talks"? And then after the noticing, who were the people that said, "Okay, I'm going to be patient as you're practicing"? So, how many of you have been to a work in progress showing of something? Raise your hand. Okay, so sometimes those are excellent, right? You walk away like, wow, that was the best 90 minutes of my life. Not so much. Usually they're not, like, it's horrible. It's like, no offense, any of the artists in the room, I love you all. But many times it's not that good, it's not that interesting. But usually, there's some spark of something that happens in the room. And then you take that thing and you work on it and you think about it. But those of us who are in the room, what we're practicing is how to sit with things, how to take a moment, how to be tolerant. You know, being tolerant is hard work. How to ask questions when we're afraid. You know, when you see something and someone assumes you know what that thing is. I've seen many audience members say, "What was that? Did you understand what that was?" I'm like, no, I didn't. But for us as audience members, to support great artists, we have to practice. We have to take those habits of noticing and listening and showing compassion and love and being critical, compassionately critical. We have to do that so that together we can make the kind of creative community and the kind of community we want to be a part of. So I'm asking you today to recommit to not only making art, which hopefully you all do in some shape, form, or fashion, but to being great audience members and supporting a space where art can happen and creativity can happen and community can happen so that we can stand for all these other things that we need to stand for. Thank you.